about what kind of drainage requirements relative to their wetlands we would need if we put the stadium south of the school where we're proposing now. And we did get written information from them saying that it was pretty good, it would be okay. And then we spent some time with the folks from South Elgin because they did it. And we want to do it too. And we got a lot of good ideas from those folks. So in the last, I would say, year and a half, we have really focused on fundraising. And with my partner, George Carlaveras here, who can give you more detail, and the help of other parents, and Mayor, you've been involved, we have done a tremendous amount of outreach relative to fundraising, and pretty much have phase one covered. I think we're probably closing in on $1 million. Last year, as you know, we had sort of a game without all the accoutrements. We rented seating on one side, and we had part of the entrance put up, and we did it just to see how it was going to feel. And it was a great game, but it wasn't under the lights, and we're looking forward to much more. So let me tell you, in terms of fundraising, not only have we had a tremendous response from the businesses and the people in Bartlett, but because it's out there and we have talked to people for well over a year and a half, there's a tremendous amount of enthusiasm that goes along with that. And I think that the Bartlett community knows it's coming. I think they're excited about it coming. And I'm excited too. And it's a wonderful opportunity to be back in the boardroom to talk about something as important as this stadium. It will be an all-activity stadium. There'll be soccer as well as football and all kinds of activities that they're going to have there. And I'm looking forward to that happening. It's going to be wonderful. We have always talked about building community. That's something that's part of our strategic plan every year. And I can tell you that this stadium will build community in ways that we have not been able to. So I'm anxious to see it finally come before the board. We have a lot more work to do, but I look forward to tracking it through its paces here to the Plan Commission and the ZBA and back to you, and we hope it happens as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie. And I will add, Valerie's put countless hours of effort and fundraising efforts, so thank you so much for our community for stepping up on that after you left us.
Mr. Mayor, board members, my name is George Cancevelis. I live at 1306 Geneva Lane in Bartlett, Illinois. I've been a resident of Bartlett for over 20 years now. I am the director of the activity complex at Bartlett High School, representing the boosters and our community. I have been at this for approximately 11 years now, working very hard, and with the community's help, we were able to purchase a scoreboard with a significant donation from Bartlett Rotary Club, along with some parents donating money. We were able to put up a state-of-the-art scoreboard. With the help of U46 and the citizens of Bartlett, the community members, we were able to lay sod on our football field, which gets it to playing so we can go ahead and have games on it. At this time, I'm happy to say that as of before yesterday, we have raised $450,000. All from Bartlett businesses or residents, and that's very exciting to hear. But one of the biggest things that happened yesterday is we received a commitment for $500,000 from the Greco company, Greco Foods and Cheese Merchants, both Bartlett companies. Mr. Greco is 100% behind our project, puts us really close to about almost $1 million in funds for this project. This is a joint project with U46. We would not be here without the help of U46, and U46 wouldn't be here without the help of Bartlett residents and community members. So it's working together, and it's something that we built the last few years, and we're very proud of it at Bartlett High School. My purpose of here tonight is to explain to the board how important it is for the community to have a come-together venue as an activity complex to cover all sports at Bartlett High School, so we don't have to travel to our neighbor at Streamwood, and our students and our community members can come here and enjoy a football game, soccer game, whatever kind of a cheerleading event, a band event, a lacrosse event, all kinds of things. So I believe U46 will be talking to you guys today about what they have and the efforts that they put together. And we're very excited to get this rolling, and we're very excited to get this out to bid. Thank you.
Thank you, George.
Good evening. My name is John Elinardo, and I work for Frederick Quinn Company. We're the construction manager that's been hired by the village in order to build a new police station and make the modifications here to the village hall. I'm not a Bartlett resident, so I'm here at the request of Chief Prekelis, just to be available tonight and on a monthly basis to answer any questions, to provide an update, or just to be here if you have any residents' questions with regards to the process for the construction of the police department. In talking with the folks that I'm working with, we just thought it would be a good idea. Can come up and give you an update, show you a few pictures to a large extent or a small extent, whatever you feel comfortable with. So we've just started over the course of the last couple of weeks, tearing things apart and getting the existing building configured for the temporary renovation. And we're working on the parking lot on the west side of Oak Street. That's the work that's happening in the field. We're in the final process of putting together the second bid package, which is the work for the balance of the building, which will go out in the middle of August, and we'll bring some responses and recommendations to you in September. So really, that's the long and the short of what's going on right now, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any with regards to the process or where we're at.
As you're tearing down the walls and ceilings and floors, are you finding any surprises?
So far, things have been pretty consistent with what we have expected.
About, know the scope of the project, is it a little over a year?
We expect
The residents know.
to deliver the project in a couple of phases, and with 100% being done by December of 2018. The first phase will turn over to the police department right around June 1st of 2018, and then the second phase, the smaller phase, will finish by the end of the year.
Good. I think one of the things that might be important, even if you don't join, but maybe pop into the chamber, because some of the folks that are around here are chamber members, and maybe you could once in a while swing in there and give them some information on updates so they can push it out to the businesses, especially the ones that are down here.
Be happy to. And one of the things that Paul had asked was, and I didn't do it this month because I didn't get it in time to include in your board packet, but we'll put together just a brief summary to be included in your board update. I'm sure that it's probably not long enough. You need a couple other things to read as you're getting ready for your meeting. So we'll just put that in there on a monthly basis, and we'd be happy to distribute that to whomever.
Good. Well, thank you for being here tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you. Good night.
It's a great idea, Deputy Chief. Anyone else? Hearing none, we will move on to the standing committee reports this evening. The first standing committee report is under Planning and Zoning Committee, Chairman Hopkins.
Thank you, President Wallace. We have 3 items on our agenda tonight. A1 was covered under the consent. So we'll move to A2, which is Everwash Car Wash. They're asking for a preliminary and final PUD and special use. It was brought before the Plan Commission on June 8th, and they recommended approval, and it is before us for a vote. And with that, Jim, could you kind of walk us through any of the changes that possibly were made?
Yes, Trustee Hopkins. The biggest change or the condition that probably is most pertinent is that Mr. Kim, who's the owner, who is also with us tonight, has installed some additional baffling and noise protection on the western edge of the site where the dryer motors are. That was something the Plan Commission requested. He did that. The flow-through of the building and the car wash is the same as you saw it before, and as the Plan Commission saw it, and some renderings of what it'll look like with the glass enclosures. And he did address if that ever gets crowded, that they will have opportunity to have people out there directing traffic. But that's pretty much it, and as you see it, and it's ready for a vote.
Any questions?
Make a motion. Move to approve.
Thanks, Ray.
Anybody?
I move to approve ordinance 2017-92,
92?
an ordinance approving of the preliminary and final PUD plan and granting a special use permit to allow a car wash on Lot 2 of the Chesterbrook Academy re-subdivision of Lot 3.
Second.
Moved by trustee Hopkins, seconded by trustee Cammer. Is there any questions?
Go ahead.
54 decibels. So 54 decibels, couple questions about 54 decibels. Is that at the lot line, or is that standing right next to the vacuum units?
This discussion on the decibel level was at the property line.
At the property
And
line?
that was the condition, the plan commission wanted it that lower than that.
Now, is that just the vacuum itself, or the motor, or the complete car wash when it's operating?
Mr. Kim's here, he's coming up to the podium, he's expert at this.
Good evening. So that would be for the vacuum producer. That would be the highest noise generating item at the lot line. It would be the vacuum producer. All of the blowers, which also produce noise, are angled to go out towards 59, so that wouldn't be affecting the lot line or residents.
What about the actual vacuum handles themselves?
So the vacuum handles don't produce much noise at all. There's a suction sound, but when they're inserted, you don't hear anything. It's really the producer that creates all the suction that's creating the noise.
So what would you say would be your total decibel level of your complete car wash at your property line?
It's 54. Currently in Lake and Hills.
54.
It's 54, right? When that car wash is operating, we're at 54. Here, as we demonstrated last time, the lot line for the property is about the same as we have in Lake in the Hills, except here we're going to have a berm, creating additional separation, and then we're going to work on additional baffling.
If by any chance a resident, if we did approve this and a resident did have concerns, would there be any way to try to get that decibel level lower?
Absolutely. So we, currently in Lake in the Hills, we have 3 residents that literally butt right up against our property line. We have great relationships with all of them. We intend to do the same, and if there was any complaints, we would do everything we can to make sure that residents were happy and comfortable. We do close at 9 p.m. Every day, so we're not running overnight and creating interruptions, but even before then, if there was an interruption, there would be opportunity for additional noise reduction.
Do you have any issues with customers coming in and not turning down the radios?
59 does too.
We haven't had that issue. If that was happening, we would go out and ask them to, turn that down. Usually when people are working on their cars or vacuuming, their cars are off.
I've noticed that you've agreed to provide extra soundproofing to the vacuum mechanical unit. Does that lower the decibel, or is that, the 54 is with this extra soundproofing?
So currently what we do, we have a silencer on our vacuum producer, which is what brings it down significantly. So to give you an idea, 54 is less than the noise level of the human voice. So if I'm standing at the lot line and having a conversation with any of you, we don't have to raise our voice to hear each other. So it's not very loud at all.
I was going to put this into perspective. What's the decibel level of a semi traveling down 59 at 50 miles an hour?
It's over 100.
Yes, there you go. And that's a long,
Right.
That's
So 54 is already, that's pretty low. and we'll make sure that, residents aren't disturbed by the noise that's there.
I guess the question was, is that, do you think that extra soundproofing will lower it even further or not? Or is that,
We can do additional things. There's additional investment that we can make to everything, even down to creating an entire acoustic studio to muffle all the noise, which would become pretty costly. But yes, there are additional measures we could take if we needed to.
Mr. Plazinski, is this something that, if a resident did have a concern, is this something that the village could actually go out there and take decibel readings and?
We have had issues with sound, and we have hired a sound engineer to take level readings with a sound meter. And in one instance, we had a factory next to residential, and they were found to be in excess of what our standards were, and they had to muffle the noise. It would apply here. The ordinance, if passed, has that standard in there, so that 54 decibel standard is what we would use to make sure that they comply with that. If it's higher, they have to do something to make it below that level.
What would trigger action on the part of the village? Would it be just the resident calling and
If
saying?
we get a complaint, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
We don't have any equipment at the village. We'd have to hire someone to take those measurements.
Yes.
We don't have any sound equipment to measure it, correct?
The typical sound meter that you can buy is really not sophisticated enough. So the IEPA has noise regulations, and they require testing at all the different sound bands and octave levels, et cetera. And so typically to put someone in violation of our performance standards, where we incorporate the IEPA noise standards, you need a sound engineer who does the proper testing, tests the background noise, et cetera, and tests it all the different. And we've had that issue before with factories, and had to litigate that issue before. But the typical cheap sound meter you could buy in the old days was Radio Shack. Those are not really sophisticated enough to test the noise levels at the different bass, the low bass levels are where they feel the vibration and things. So
Do the manufacturers make recommendations, or do they have paperwork on what the decibel levels are of the vacuums and the handles?
They don't, so a lot of operators will just have the vacuum producer out in the open with no shielding at all. I don't see references to decibel levels, because that really depends on the residents around the area. The silencer that we put on there is probably the greatest help to reducing the sound level. So when you hear it, you don't hear kind of the chugging sound of like a Harley Davidson coming by. All you hear is kind of a low hum.
Does your vacuum run 24, or from the time you open to the time you close, or is it on motion sensors? Or?
No, there are loops installed, and there are sensors to when a customer comes to turn them on and then to turn them off.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
There's no other questions. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Gabrenia?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
Kammerer?
yes?
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
That motion carries. Thank you for being here, sir. Where do you go?
All right, we'll move on to A3, O'Hare's Pub, special use for outdoor seating. This was before our committee meeting for discussion, and then it went to the Plan Commission, and they recommended approval. And now it's here for a vote. This is an ordinance granting a special use permit to allow outdoor seating at O'Hare's Pub. That's all. So I move to make a motion granting a special use permit to allow outdoor seating at O'Hare's Pub,
Sec-
2017-93.
93.
Moved by trustee Hopkins, seconded by trustee Ranky. Is there any discussion? I see the petitioners are in the audience. Thank you for coming out. Bill, how are you feeling? Good, good.
I also know that we received an email or a statement from another resident of the shopping center area there that owns the packaged liquor, saying that he had an exclusive rights with his lease in that shopping center. Do we know anything about that? Is that valid?
They have made that statement. I don't know what the tenets of their lease are, but he has said that before. I've not checked with the landlord, but,
One of the reasons why we split it out,
Right.
trustee Cameron, this is just the outdoor seating. It's because that's what most of the board wanted to do.
This is only the outdoor
This
seating
is
we're
just
talking
the
about?
outdoor seating, nothing else.
It still says,
So,
I don't know why.
the petitioner was requesting that because
Instead of older
of the
version.
delay in our board meetings, that the summer was going to be almost over, which I agree with. And the outdoor seating was one of the most important components of what they were coming to the board with. Staff worked tirelessly on Friday afternoon and peeled out the one request, which is just the outdoor seating, so we can get approved or discussed this evening and approved possibly. So this is only the outdoor seating.
I actually had a chance to go over there, and I thank the petitioner for taping off that section, so I actually got to see how much room there is to walk, and I feel comfortable with it. So I thank them for doing that. Is there any other?
Any other discussion on it?
Yeah, I went over there also. It seems like it's maybe going to be a little bit tight. But if you install the bumpers by the parking spaces, I think Angela told that you're going to do, I think that'll really help and work out well for you.
And walking over there, the Delicious Crepes, they have outdoor seating. Marco's Pizza, they have outdoor seating, so it's really nothing new to the area. So, one question I did have is, how late will the outdoor seating be open till?
Our kitchen closes at 9 through the week and 10 on Friday and Saturday, so, the last seating would be to get that meal at possibly 10 on a Friday or Saturday, so we would probably be out of there by 11.
Okay. So this isn't going to be set up like a beer garden or anything like that? This is for residents or your customers to enjoy the outdoors?
Only around St. Patrick's Day, right? You'd have to put a caveat on that, I think.
All right.
Anything else? Anyone else? Hearing none, the clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Hopkins?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
Camera?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Cabrera?
Yes.
That motion carries. You guys are
That's-
good to go.
That's all we have under planning and zoning tonight.
Thank you, trustee Hopkins. I think off the record, as long as the petitioners are here for that, is, if it's like 78 degrees on a Saturday afternoon, then the board should probably have precedence in the outdoor seating, I think.
Okay.
Off the record, of course. Next item we have under our standing committee reports this evening is the Building Committee Chairman Gabrenya.
Mr. President, no report this evening.
Thank you, Chairman Gabrenya. I'm getting better. Next item we have under Finance and Golf Committee is Chairman Daney.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have two items on the agenda. First one was the 2016-17 budget amendments, which I'll get to in a moment. Second one was covered under consent agenda, which was the U-46 school resource officer contract. And now we'll take a look at the budget amendment. This would be a resolution to amend the 2016-17 budget Amendments are needed to the original budget due to projects approved during the year and carry over prior year expenditures. And Todd, if you'd like to give us a little background, if necessary.
Yeah, thank you, Trustee Dean. Yeah, this is mainly a housekeeping issue. We did approve some projects during the middle of the year. One was the Village Hall construction and the bond issue. That's the municipal building fund, a lot of that. Another project was the Brewster Creek TIF ramped up their development, and that's when we issued the $9.2 million to pay off the developer notes and also move things along faster. Some of the one in regard to the general fund contingencies, that's work that's being done with the quiet zone on Spalding. That's being funded by Canadian National Funds. Carryover items was the stormwater project on North and Prospect. That was just, we were expecting just to do plantings and things like that, but there was a little more that carried over. That's funded by FEMA grant money and the 2012 bond issue. Developer deposits, letter of credit draw project. That was where developer didn't completely finish the Blue Herons retention pond, and that's work that we're completing, and that's money that was also held in reserve for that project. And lastly, the streets garage addition was carryover. It was budgeted in a previous year. That didn't get finished till this last year. So these are just projects that need to be cleaned up. We need to actually have the budget approved for these projects technically.
With that, I move to approve resolution number 2017-94,
94?
a resolution approving amendments to the fiscal year budget 2016-2017.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Daney, seconded by Trustee Hopkins. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Ranky?
Yes.
Cammer?
Yes.
Carbonell?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Cabrera?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
That motion carries. I'll help you out, Ray. That's it for you tonight.
Oh, yes, I'm trying to work.
Next item we have this
Yes.
evening is Ray's manipulating his technology understanding committee reports is the License and Ordinance Committee Chairman Camera.
Thank you, Mr. President. The one item that we had under license and ordinance, the Starbucks liquor license, was covered under the consent agenda.
Thank you, Chairman Camera. Next item, understanding committee reports is Police and Health Committee Chairman Carbonaro.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have nothing to report this evening.
Thank you, Chairman Carbonaro. Finally, understanding committee reports is the Public Works Committee Chairman Ranky.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing on Public Works tonight.
Thank you, Chairman Ranky. Finally, we are down to new business. Any new business anyone would like to bring up at this time?
Yeah, I have one thing I'd like to bring up. I would really like to take the opportunity on behalf of the entire village to thank the 4th of July Committee and also the Lions Club. The parade that we had again this year was outstanding. It continues to grow every year, and I don't know how they do it. And all of the work and the effort that the 4th of July Committee puts in to have this fest so successful in our village is something that we can all be proud of. So I just want to really thank them from the bottom of my heart. It was outstanding. We were there 4 days, and we were tired, but we had a great time. So thank you, Lions Club and 4th of July Committee.
Absolutely. I second that. Any other new business?
While we're in the process of thanking, I'd like to thank the police department for the great job that they've done with the BAPS traffic and the amount of people that are involved with that. We had the opportunity to go this past Sunday, and fortunate to have an escort there by our chief, and we appreciated that, and just a great job with all the traffic. It could have been chaotic, to say the least.
Yes.
Ditto. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Anything else? I don't think we can adjourn until we find out how the chicks are doing. Are they?
There you go.
All right.
Expecting those
Are
eggs.
you going to bring the eggs to the ZBA meetings now so we can pop in and?
Remember, I have some eggs coming. I know where to find you now, your CBA.
With that, I will entertain a motion. to adjourn.
Wait. We have some questions, President, for the
Oh,
trustee.
questions. I thought those were the questions.
Yeah, please.
Questions.
All right.
Go ahead.
I really want to talk a little bit about that Marathon gas station. I brought it up again, the one on Lake Street and Bartlett Road. And it's getting worse. It really is. I've had people contact me and they keep asking me what's happening. The other thing I'd like to ask is, I know that we have, we're working with the owners of the old Bartlett Tap Platform 18. If somebody could give me an update on that. And also, I'd like to know the status of Lucky Jacks. And I'm also getting people that are calling me that the gazebo in Bartlett Park needs to be painted. So help me out
Let's
here,
take those one
guys.
at a time. You want to do, let's talk about the marathon. I think I just got an update recently on that.
The marathon it's in local adjudication. When we first served them, the owners who we tracked down through record search came to local adjudication, said they weren't the owners and it was sold. Tracked down the owner that was sold to, and they are in court, local adjudication tomorrow. That person has been served, and hopefully, as we will request, for them to clean it up and then be fined. We've had, Public Works has put our barricades out in the driveways to prevent people coming in there. So that's what we've done to try to secure the site. And we're hoping that there will be fines and there will be cleanup. Marathon itself has offered to help clean it up and get their name off of it. They don't want it on there anymore, but they have no control over the site. It was a company site.
Jim?
The Lucky Jacks,
Oh, let me ask you about Marathon. What kind of time frame are we possibly looking at? Because the people that are calling me, they're saying when. I just tell them be patient, and they're looking for something a little more definitive. So in your best.
don't have
guess-
cooperative owners, it can take a long time. We hope to get fines from them and hope they'll cooperate in cleaning up the site and securing it. If they're not going to be cooperative, you can fine them all you want, but if they're not,
Yeah.
we don't have the authority to go on the site without, and Brian can explain, without getting a court order and doing it ourselves. We can go that route. We've done it before, but
Even that takes a really long
it takes a
time.
long time.
Yeah, that's the only thing you can say is that,
And I have to tell you what's really, kind of ridiculous is it says right on that corner, do not drive on the shoulder.
Right.
I can't tell you how many times I have my right turn signal on, I'm in traffic, and someone comes around me on the shoulder and makes the right turn there. So, I mean, is that something that we can, I don't know what to do about it. It doesn't affect me because of the traffic, but it offends me because the sign is there. It says, don't drive on the shoulder. And you're sitting in the traffic, but, they, with the right turn signal on, and they come on the inside and go around you. What's the purpose of not driving on the shoulder there?
I think it's a safety feature, is my guess. I no accounting for people's driving habits. But I would guess it's a safety feature. People are going to be turning right, and they don't want somebody to come around them and sideswipe them. That would be my guess.
No, that doesn't make sense. I don't,
it's not our road.
yeah, I know it's not our road, right. Maybe we could cut the sign down or something so people drive on their shoulder. All right.
And then Platform 18, it's closed. The last known owners are in the wind. We were talking about it today at staff. I'm going to try to make contact with the last person who I had in local adjudication and was testifying against. We actually did get fines and a condition that if they basically cleaned up. There was 4 code violations regarding the stairs and those types of things, that the fines would be reduced. The next court date that they were told to come to, they didn't show up, and they haven't shown up since.
And what was that court date?
2 months ago.
And they haven't shown up?
They're in the wind. And I don't know where to find them. And I try to call them, and I don't get a phone call back. Previously, they were pretty cooperative, and I don't know, I think there's some problems between owners and players that are involved in Platform
think?
18. I don't want to guess what they are, but I'm sure they are. And I'm going to let Brian tell you about Lucky
There was
Jacks.
some overlap in ownership.
Well, may
The
I
Lucky
ask-
Jacks.
May I
and-
ask one more question about Platform 18? What recourse would we have? I mean, ultimately, if these people don't respond, we'll have to move forward and do something. What would have to
Well,
happen?
we've taken their liquor license, I believe.
We did that a month ago.
Right.
Right.
So that's been surrendered. We don't own the property. I'll tell you what we're doing with Lucky Jacks, and I suppose it could come to that. I don't believe that building is in the same deplorable condition as Lucky Jacks. So Lucky Jacks, we have filed a complaint for demolition or fix-up, and that is pending in the Circuit Court of Cook County. There's 10 defendants or so. We've served 8 of the 10, actually 9 of the 10. One we have to reserve, and one has moved 3 times since we filed the complaint, and we were granted leave to serve that defendant by publication. So that just happened last week, and we got a new address for one of the parties who was going through a divorce. We thought we had service on the residence on her husband, a substitute service, and given that there was a divorce pending, we're asked to reserve them. It's due up back in court again. The only defendants that appeared are the lender themselves and a tax buyer. Tax buyer called me as recently as yesterday and is contemplating whether or not to redeem the taxes and become the owner, and knows that they'll be taking on some of these obligations. So there's a 3-count complaint, fines, basically submit plans under our vacant property registration ordinance, and lastly, either fix it or demolish it, and we're proceeding on that basis. We first have to get jurisdiction over all the parties, and I did speak to the lender's attorney, or I take that back. The lender who is loaned several $100,000, over $500,000, they got a judgment against the principal owners and are pursuing a collection of that. They may walk away from their lien on the property, but they're out about $500,000. And there's, as I view it, it's likely that we'll have to go the whole 9 yards. And I tried to encourage them to demolish the building themselves so that we don't have to do that. I don't know that that's really going to happen, but we're, pursuing it as fast as the court system allows. Now, because of some of the infighting in that case and some of the overlap with the piece next door, I think some of the pressure and the fact that there's personal judgments that have been entered against some of those people, that's one of the reasons that things have stopped at the Platform 18 property, because one of those same defendants has a judgment against them in that case, and I think that's been part of the issue. So I don't want to get specific on naming defendants in this setting, but
That's the long version of we're doing everything we possibly can to get rid of the eyesore.
yeah.
Well, and I think we need to keep up the pressure on Platform 18 so it doesn't end up becoming as bad as Lucky Jack's.
I agree.
So we don't want to lose that building, too.
I agree. So we may have to pursue that, but that building isn't in the, that
Disarray.
position. I can tell you there's a different lender on that one. I understand there's a foreclosure action that's been filed in that one as well. But again, different lender, and I'm getting that secondhand from one of the defendants in the Lucky Jacks litigation. So from looking at the public record, you can't tell that yet, but that's the word on the street, so to speak, and we'll try and refine that some more.
Well, if we need to have an executive session to talk about strategy,
Sure.
let's do it.
Yeah.
Are daily fines being levied against Lucky Jacks in the marathon, or is that an option?
Lucky Jacks, that's part of the complaint, seeking daily fines. Whether or not those will get entered, I don't know. But more than anything, what we're looking for is the authority to demolish it, that I would then anticipate will file a lien and will foreclose that lien and try and recoup our money in that manner. But yes, in that complaint, there is account for damages and a slew of building code violations listed in that complaint. I can't answer the question on the Platform 18 property, but there is that authority under our ordinances and the codes to impose daily fines.
Doesn't sound very encouraging.
No,
None of it is.
That's all I had. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any other good news? We will be moving directly, upon adjournment of this meeting, we'll be moving directly into the Committee of the Whole meeting, and part of the Committee of the Whole meeting this evening includes executive session to discuss property acquisition pursuant to Section 2C5 of the Open Meetings Act. Also, the executive session will include a discussion to discuss personnel pursuant to Section 2C1 of the Open Meetings Act. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the board meeting.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Trustee Daney, seconded by Trustee Cammer. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Camera?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Daney? Yes. Cabrera?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
We are adjourned.